Okay, so this is just an idea I had for how you could write an APA method section that would be a little bit more applicable to a situation you might encounter in the real world. This course, this stats course, isn't really suited for writing a real APA method section because you're not actually conducting a study. That will hopefully come later. But currently, I'm pretty much just giving you data that's already been collected and having you analyze it. So I'm trying to kind of recreate a scenario in which you have more information and you can take that information and write an APA style method section out of it. The situation I'm trying to kind of recreate is, say you're part of a lab and your mentor, the principal investigator in the lab, has conducted a study and he wants your help in writing up the report, writing up the paper. So you sit down with him or her in a meeting and you ask them, well, how was the study done? And they tell you and they give you all these details on the design of the study, the participants, etc. That's all information that you would put in that APA method section. And of course, you're going to be taking notes through all of that and then taking your notes and writing it up into a more formalized report. So that's the skill that I think is valuable that I want you to kind of practice with this exercise. So I'm going to pretend that I am a researcher and I am describing the study to you. Okay? So the study that you're going to be writing up is the Blanchard et al. Study on migraines. So I'm going to now switch roles and pretend that I am Dr. Blanchard, and you have just asked me to talk about his study. Okay? Okay. Well, thank you for coming in. I'm happy to discuss this study with you that we did on relaxation training for treating migraines. So we had 9 participants in this study. We had 5 females and 4 males. These were all adults, and the range of their ages was 21 to 47. We computed the average of that, and it's 32.1 years was the average age. So that's something you'll probably want to put in there. They completed 2 visits prior to the relaxation training. They came into the lab and reported their headache severity. I'll explain what that is in a sec. So those were kind of the baseline. We got 2 baseline measurements. And then they completed the training. That was 1 hour. It was conducted by a licensed therapist, and then they came into the lab 3 times after that, once a week, 3 weeks following, and we reassessed their headache severity symptoms. The headache severity ratings, those were based on a questionnaire. That questionnaire had a bunch of questions, things like how would you rate your pain on a scale from 1 to 10? How frequently have you had headaches in the past week? The 3 main areas that it was getting at were the severity of the headaches, the frequency, and then to what extent they interfered with daily activities. So those were the 3 main things that the questionnaire got at. And the scores were composite scores. So it was all these, responses to all these questions, and kind of there's a scoring procedure that you won't need to include in detail, but it was a composite score. Okay, so that's about it. Okay, back to Dr. Bell. So pretty much everything I mentioned in there, you'll want to include. Of course, right now it's just rough, so you'll need to put it into more formal terms. And kind of the main thing that you'll need to think about is which of the 3 sections, the participants section, the materials and methods section, and the procedure section, those different pieces of information best belong in. Of course, in a real APA method section, you're going to include a whole lot more detail than I'm giving you. In this case, you're going to have things like ethnicity of the participants, how the participants were recruited, whether they were compensated, a lot more detail on the actual questionnaire that was given, and maybe you'll even include the questionnaire in an appendix or things like that. But this will just give you kind of a little thing to practice with. Okay.